their Super Bowl defense looking for the unprecedented three-peat. The Ravens are looking for revenge after getting knocked out by the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. With Derrick Henry now in the fold, he shared some thoughts about how the title game could have gone differently if he were a Raven.
Oh yeah, I was wishing I could suit up that day watching that game. But now it's my turn, so gotta take advantage of it. It's gonna be a hell of a game. Chiefs are always tough. They're solid on all three teams, so it's gotta be locked in this week to be able to execute on Thursday.
Exactly, and now he is a Raven. So Stephen A., I'll kick it off with you. With the Ravens and Chiefs kicking things off this Thursday, do you see this as an AFC Championship preview?
I do, and basically based off of need, more so than anything else. Lamar Jackson needs it to be that kind of confrontation, and he needs to answer the call. Just from a statistical perspective, fellas, Shay, Swagu, good to see you, big boy. Swagu, good to see you, my man. Let me say
this.
You
too, brother.
Lamar Jackson is 1-4 against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. The only other team he struggled against is the AFC North rival Pittsburgh Steelers, who he's 2-4 against. Do you know what Lamar Jackson's record is against the other 29 teams in the National Football League in his career? 57-15. He wins 79% of his games. Those are the two nemesis, and we all know Patrick Mahomes ain't going no damn where. 28 years of age, he gonna be here for a while. Standing right in front of your face saying, the road to prosperity has to come through me. You, Lamar Jackson, you a two-time league MVP. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? And see, I get tired. You understand what I'm saying? Because I'm a scribe. See, y'all did it. Y'all did it. You understand? I wrote about it. I covered it. I talked about it. You said, y'all did it, all right? Y'all know this better than me. Here's the deal, fellas. Let's take a boxing analogy, for example. You're a knockout artist. You rolling over everybody, right? And then there's another knockout artist waiting for you. And then against him, suddenly you don't seem to have that certain crispness, that certain power. You understand what I'm saying? That right hand ain't having that effect. That left hook ain't having that effect. All of a sudden, everything that worked for you before, when it's called upon to go against the monster, you hear, nah, that ain't what we do. And so it's not about insulting Lamar Jackson. We know he's great. We know how elite he is. We understand it. Ain't nobody disputing the fact that he was worthy of being a two-time league MVP. But let us remind the audience that the two-time league MVP awards are for regular season performances. Why the hell you think Dak Prescott was a runner-up for MVP? Because talk about regular season. We were talking about January, that'd be a different story. We're talking about regular season. But when the postseason arrives, it's a very, very big thing to look at you up against the dude that's standing in your way and asking, what are you going to do? Remind everybody, Joe Burrow's that dude, right? Joe Burrow's somebody that beat Patrick Mahomes in the AFC Championship game, that's been to back-to-back AFC title games. He's shown what he's made of. The 2 seasons of his 4 years in the NFL, when he's been healthy, they've been in the AFC Championship game, and they had 1 Super Bowl appearance, okay? Lamar Jackson's 4-1 against him, so we ain't worried about that. He shows what he could do against Joe Burrow. It's Patrick Mahomes we talking about here. And if Zay Flowers hadn't coughed up the ball, diving into the end zone, we might be talking about a different story. But instead, what we're talking about is the fact that the Baltimore Ravens, after running roughshod over everybody, including the Detroit Lions, who was in the NFC Championship game last year, you saw what Baltimore did to them when they went up against them. Even though we're talking about that, the bottom line is this: we still talked about them scoring just 10 points. Patrick Mahomes is the monster, and Lamar Jackson has to beat that brother in all likelihood. What you gonna do? That's what I'm talking about. It's an AFC Championship game preview because to me, Lamar Jackson should be salivating for that competition, for that particular matchup, because it's the only question mark and, dare I say, blemish on his resume.
Stephen A., you're absolutely right. But, man, when you look at that Cleveland Browns roster, Swagu, when you look at that roster from top to bottom, offensively and defensively. Now, remember, last year they finished number 1 in defense. This year, if Deshaun Watson, I'm not even saying he needs to be, now, if he goes back and be what he was his last year starting in Houston, well, it's over. With that defense and those weapons, with that offensive line, no. So as much as it's so hard to pick up against Patrick Mahomes because he is that guy. He's the one guy that you don't pick against because he's proving it time and time again. Even with last year, when we thought he was like, this team, there isn't good enough offensively, too many drops, the offensive line doesn't do a great job, and what do? They take the show on the road. They don't need to be an Arrowhead, and they get to and they win the Super Bowl again. For me, when I look at the Cleveland Browns, if Deshaun Watson is either now or never, he's under immense pressure, that big contract, and as of yet, he has yet to live up to it because of injuries and obviously what happened off the field in Houston. But if they play, and if I just need Deshaun Watson to give me 85, 90% swag and Stephen A. of what he once was. I like the Cleveland Browns and the Chiefs.
Oh, Shay, I hear you, but I can't. I don't know. I don't know what Deshaun Watson is. I don't know if he can get back to that. Let's be real, man. Like, first of all, the injury part of Deshaun Watson since he's been in Cleveland, but also that expectation in Houston was why he got $230 million guaranteed. I know people scratch their head about that contract and why Cleveland did it. If you watched Deshaun Watson play football before they signed that contract, you'd have thought he was worth $230 million guaranteed. But people forget that when we had a conversation. I'm with Stephen A. on Baltimore. The one caveat I had, because I think Houston going to be a real one this year. I think the Texans going to be a real one. Yeah. But I'm still going back. I'm still going back to Baltimore. Stephen A., when the player is playing at his highest height in the NFL, and you last year jumped on board with me with Baltimore, and we talked to each other after that AFC Championship game and was like, man, what the hell happened? Shay, Stephen A., I believe this in my heart of hearts, bro. When a player is playing at their ceiling outside of Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, the best player in the NFL.
No, Shay, he gonna call anybody out. You understand what I'm saying? Because that's just what Shay does. I understand it. And Swagu, you ain't much different. You gonna do it too. But at the same time, you know your hearts are still in the right place. This is your brethren here. You've been in the locker room. You've been on the field. You know what comes with it. But what you miss is that there's people like me that not only show up in the locker room to talk to you, but I watch you on TV, on YouTube, and everywhere else. I'm an ultimate spy, and I see how y'all are. And so what happens is this. We got one of those situations, right? You cannot. I understand. And Swagu, I'm not saying that you're wrong. Lamar Jackson, you listen. He ain't wrong. You that bad, brother, as in good, as in great. We know how phenomenal you are. But we're talking to cats that religiously state when it's time is when you're really, really measured. Now, if you don't find yourself in that moment because you got a sorry team around you like Matthew Stafford had for 12 years, we're able to appreciate your greatness and the depreciation of the product around you and say, yo, that ain't on you. We haven't been able to say that about Lamar Jackson. We've looked at the Baltimore Ravens. What do we rave about? We rave about Coach John Harbaugh. We rave about their defense. We rave about their rough rider mentality, the intestinal fortitude that they have. Shannon, champion with the Baltimore Ravens. You talked about their culture and what they stand on. Don't get me started with Ray Lewis. Do I got to slide and slide again? To get my message across? I don't have to do that. We know what time it is when we talking about the Baltimore Ravens. So now it's about, yo, what are you going to do when you Lamar Jackson and you going up against that dude? We can't forget what sports is all about. Your regular season, we get you. Your athleticism, we get it. Your abilities, we get it. But that also provokes us to ask, how come you can't get it done when you going up against this brother? You do it against everybody else. Now, if you don't go up, if you don't take out Patrick Mahomes like you Josh Allen and you lose 40-36 or something like that, we ain't looking at you. You did your thing. But when you scoring 10 after you running all over everybody all season long, now I got to look at you. And then they go out and they get Derrick Henry. And that's going to prevent them from clouding the box like you said, okay? Oh, that can unleash you even more. He has even less of an excuse now than he ever has before. It ain't about AFC title game appearances. It ain't about playoff appearances anymore with Lamar Jackson. Hell, it ain't even about the Super Bowl. It's about one dude that repeatedly stands in your way. His name is Patrick Mahomes. In the conversation as the GOAT, already considered arguably the GOAT if he wins 3 back-to-back-to-back. What you gonna do about it, Lamar? That's it.
Yep.
That's what we talking about right there.
All right, we got to leave it there.